Thank you. Okay, it's been a long day, so what I will do is just in a couple of minutes, would like to ask you a few things, almost like a feedback and what you got out of today's session, which will help us to prepare for tomorrow and hopefully just make you think a little bit more in the last few minutes. So I start with this table. First of all, do you like the format of the workshop? Did you enjoy that? Yep. You like? That you are doing the work yourselves, and so if you have to kind of almost like put it in order, what do you like most, bearing in mind how long is the day? Being involved directly yourself, especially with Jeff. Okay, so if we look back to the first session, for example, talking about image and your brand and whatever, what were the one or two things that you kind of found the most valuable of the first session, your table? Sorry, I didn't find the mic. Just go whatever comes to you. Remember when we started back when?
Probably, it's a bit basic, but probably the target audience and how to target them, not just any age group, but the type of clothing you wear, or the type of sports, or the type of communication that you can bring forth.
So again, thinking brands of your club, you will have something to add? No? You?
I think we should work more in social media.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
Okay, here is the question I have to everybody, so raise your hand. So, for example, talking about TikTok and about the other social media outlets, do you think that TikTok is the place potentially for you to advertise, for example, your game day or any other information? Or is it another social media that you use? And why, if you can explain?
Okay. Yes, I already told Jeff that I don't know why we don't have a TikTok account, while knowing that TikTok is growing like very, very fast. So yeah, it's a very good opportunity to express the club and the trainings, the games, the match day updates, like, yeah.
So you put them on TikTok?
Yeah, we will. I think probably in a video format.
So, somebody else, do you have to add something? Because I'm thinking, what is TikTok? It's usually a short clip.
Yeah.
That appears. So how are you going to use it as a game promotion, game information? So you may use, for example, two of your players or somebody else that does something fun with music.
Yeah, the video doesn't have to be.
You cannot set information on TikTok with, for example, like we saw on Facebook, inviting people to come to certain venue at that time. This is probably, right?
Yeah, right. The video doesn't have to be recorded live. The video can be edited, can be anything. You just basically use it to promote your game.
Okay. So, again, I'm taking on this because I think it's important exactly to understand what is the right place in social media for what activity, and this is why we are talking about it. So you want to add?
I think it's better to give game day updates and information on Facebook, especially for our country, because TikTok as a platform is not serious enough to read information and to actually be concentrated on it. So to take information from it, it's more for entertaining purposes, and I think that's how we can use it to form deeper connection, as Jeff said, with our fans, but not give information and be very serious with it. So I think we will use mostly Facebook and a website if we build it to give information, game stats, game day updates. So the ones that want to know the seriousness of the basketball side can have easier access and can find it very quickly.
Okay, so one thing that we have to be careful also with the language, this is actually a nice distinction in general, everybody all right. The point is, if you say, for example, I want to do something fun for the fans, but it's not serious, then some people may say, okay, I don't want to be part of it because it's not serious. So I know what you mean, because you kind of explain it in English. I think it's better to say it's fun. Everything that is fun is short clips, short activities, bursts, maybe small video here and there. Everything that is the business-like information as we say, the steady information, what's happening, the article about the game with statistics attached to it, whatever, then you can put in a more exactly business-like kind of a way to stand out. So is this accurate? So I asked now a little bit about the logo. You know, do you think the logo is important? Can somebody tell me about your club logo, league logo? Is this important? Going back to the beginning of the session. You want to say? Yeah. Yeah, keep talking.
I think, I think the logo is very important, but the logo should not be complex and have a lot of details, because it's something that you get known by in a second or so. Nobody looks at the logo for a couple of minutes. So the modernization of the logos in every country, such as the NBA or even other countries, is the perfect example to get a more simple logo, because that's how you remember it easily, and you can get known further away, more internationally or even nationally, because of the logo and the good design on it. But it also should express your heritage and your vision, your tone of voice, and who you are as a brand. So the logo's implementation in a thoughtful way is a very helpful part of the brand.
So, two extremely important points. As we said, you very, very well mentioned it, that the logo should reflect what you want to say, but it should be, that this is the discussion at the beginning, should be fresh, should be engaging, people have to identify with it. So this is why the examples that were shown were about, look at what you have, see if it's relevant, especially for the future, do you need to refresh it or not, okay? So that's the first thing. The tone of voice was the second point I wanted to touch. Why is it important, and what did we say when we were talking about the tone of voice? Tone of voice at the very beginning, when we were talking about the brand, the message you want to give to your fans, to everybody out there. Anybody want to say anything about the tone of voice? On your advertising, on the messaging styles you're passing on to the audience, to the media, to anybody out there? You remember we spoke about this at the beginning. Yeah? Explain.
Like, not just have a tone of voice just for a certain group of people, but for all generations and for all people, men, women, kids, adult, elderly, all.
And my question to you is, should you use, or whoever is building for you this information platforms and messaging, should you use the same tone of voice for all of those groups out there? So for example, for the traditional fans, diehard fans, for the younger generation, you know?
No, it's just like if you're a coach, every player gets coached differently, or you talk to every player differently. So with every group or generation, you have to figure out how to talk to them, how to talk to them, how to talk to them.
Exactly. So the point that we all agree is that TikTok, which is fantastic, is targeting certain generation of people, and has to be fun, has to be engaging, make them curious so they can try to find more and maybe come and see these players that are doing these fun things on TikTok. But if you want to traditional fan, maybe my age, then I want to probably, I'm too busy, I want to see when is the game, where, you know, anything else I should know. So the tone of voice is crucial. Okay, let's move on and think a little bit about the actual game day operations and this type of thing. Okay, so the first question I have for you is, do you think, and I know that different clubs have different issues, especially with the number of people you have on your team. So I'll ask this table now. On a game day, do you think that, for example, it's okay to have one venue manager that is taking care of everything? That includes media, includes the floor, includes the equipment and everything else that is needed for a game? I ask here.
Është nivel kombëtar po mendon? Po sigurisht është bën bazë protokollit dhe më përmendje se kish më shkruaj se s'ka në rregull.
Thinks that if a person has like a checklist and follows his plan, it is supposed to go everything
So is
well.
one person enough for all these things that you have to represent?
Jo, se cili detyrat me I dha se cili.
He says no, that there has to be every person for
Have to
every
be a
certain.
team. So, can somebody else then explain, either from this table or elsewhere, who are the key people, if you like, looking at the minimum? We cannot have just one person taking care on the game day if we're hosting a game. What are, if you like, the minimum people that we should have as roles? We're talking roles, not rules, as Jeff was saying. So anybody can specify. You'd like to take it again, or somebody else? Guys? No? So we have venue manager. Who else? Security. What else? Keep shouting. Team manager for your, well, basically for both teams. Who? Marketing manager. So if you, marketing and media, can it be the same person? Yeah, who else you need? Right. So the technical comes from where? Technical delegate or technical manager? Technical delegate, or maybe in your league this is a commissioner who comes and checks if everything is okay. Do you need an announcer, somebody to announce the teams? Yeah? Yeah. So you have, obviously, you need a person to, first of all, check, of course, equipment. This is venue manager and everything else, and then somebody also to manage the staff. It could be also this person, or if you have another person from the club who can manage this kind of roles. So I just kind of ask one last question. Well, it's not last, it's last and a half. So do you think it's important to have a checklist? And I mean a checklist, not just for the actual game day, but when would you start having almost like, let's say you have a game on Saturday, so what type of checklist do you need starting, let's say, 3 days in advance? Somebody wants to answer here?
Yeah, like we had like a -3, -2, so it is important to have the checklist, like with the rules you have to inform the police like 48 hours if I'm not wrong, and also you have to inform the medical staff to be there. So you have to do this in before the game, like 48 hours before. It is important to have the checklist for in front of the game, I mean, days in front of the game. Other we have mentioned, actually, currently I don't remember the other, I mean, but yes, it is important to have the checklist before the game.
So you need minus, sometimes in some cases in our major events we start actually months in advance to see if a venue needs to improve. For example, we have a Eurobasket venue is still not completed, so we have regular checks, etc., to make sure that all the facilities you need are ready.
But even if you're, let's say you plan on doing a community service, like you say you want to take your team and you want to clean up trash on the streets for, you still have to, you have to plan, you have to do a checklist for 3-4 weeks ahead, so even the public knows, media knows, so they can come. Maybe some media stations will come, TV stations, that's marketing, that's all that, they'll see that you're doing a good job. So it's not just 2-3 days ahead, like you said, events can be a month ahead, 2 ahead.
This is all kind of linked to the personnel, to the type of people you need. So you don't forget, oops, now I have nobody to clean the floors, or what's going on now, we don't have water, or where is the technician to, if anything goes wrong with the shot clock or with something, who is dealing with that? So it's all, what we're trying to get the message here is good planning. And where often if you like, the shortcomings come is when for example, there is one person doing everything. So you're taking care of your players and all the issues related to licensing, to flights, to all sorts of things. And then at the same time, you're running to prepare the venue and taking care of the host team and all the other communications. This is just not efficient. And this is why the idea is to get more people involved and to have clear role and responsibilities in that. So my final question is, again, we are looking for a few answers here, but what would you identify as the biggest issues you had on a game day? So if you can identify, well, for me, for example, X usually is a problem. So I start with this table. What is the biggest problem you had on a game day? Or you potentially can identify you can have on a game day? Who wants to answer? You? No? No?
Momentalisht problemin kryesor që kemi në ditën e ndeshjes është masat anti-Covid. Nuk na lejon që me hi shumë tifozë në palestër dhe kem kërkesë mua.
So currently the main issue, yes, COVID restrictions imposed by government that did not allow a huge number of fans.
Okay, we share this. Any other problems on a normal situation that you can have and it happens?
Miscommunication or communication within the organization, or somebody doesn't show up, or they're late, or
Table officials, for example, or statisticians.
exactly.
Okay.
Managing the ultras as well, especially when you play with a rival game, it's very tough part that you have to manage. So you have to make sure that the ultras doesn't take with themselves those that.
Dangerous subject.
Yeah. This is. Yeah.
So these kind of issues with security, etc., are really big ones. Anything you can add here on this table? Yeah? Problems? Game day, you don't have problems?
No, not really. But maybe, I don't know, maybe some courts are not clean properly and it might be slippery or something.
My question to all of you, what is the biggest problem to have in a venue, in a facility? Because you don't own your venues that you go. Do you have a problem, for example, of the access, so they're changing bookings in the last minute and you have no way to play a game, or you cannot prepare the floor on time, or any issue related to equipment? Do you have issues with that at all? Or you're kind of comfortable with the facilities you play your... Sorry, what I... In what sense?
In what sense, like the stop clocks or the scoreboards, I know a lot of teams don't try them out till like an hour before the game. And then if it doesn't work, then you try to fix it, blah, blah, blah. If it doesn't work, even if you fix it, you go to a different city, grab it, come back, game gets delayed and whatnot, so.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, just want to mention one more thing, because in other venue, especially in other cities, we have issue with when there is a cold weather. I mean, the minus, and unfortunately, not every arena have the to make it, how to say, a normal to play a basketball game. And I think a lot of people experience this. I mean.
Okay, so here, obviously, I will see if somebody else wants to add. But the point is, these are some of the issues that you just mentioned, especially those at the end. This is where it's, in a way, do I just work as a club to fix my problems, or do we work together as a league to fix these problems? And this is why it's the purpose of this workshop, to actually kind of get this message that it's very important to work together, and sometimes to raise the message as a group, that we are delivering a service to society, to local community, to whatever, and we need to have decent facilities. And here I'm raising also the matter about duty of care for players. I've played in freezing gyms, and sometimes you travel and it's cold water, you cannot take a shower properly and whatever. So the point is this what it's all about? So it's a teamwork, and these are, if you like, items that you have to get as a group before the beginning of a season or at the end of the previous, to evaluate common issues and see how you tackle them to make sure that for the following season they're better. Anybody has anything to add on this issue? Oh, you're exhausted. Okay, I just would like to say thank you very much, and to this beauty here, who has been fantastic, and to the other one over there. And of course to our team and to everybody, and to you at the back, of course, for recording, so thank you. And most importantly, thanks to all of you. Tomorrow we have an interesting session. We hope you enjoyed today. And then you'll be back here, because some of our team is departing straight after the workshop. Tomorrow we start sharp at 9. So, please be here 10 minutes early to have your coffee. And then we'll just carry on. So have a good evening, and we see you tomorrow.